Friday on Knight Rider, Michael and Bonnie are trapped in a woman's prison with only one way out.
They get killed.
Production 60202, Night Behind Bars. This episode was written by Richard Oakey and directed by Bernard McIvety. It originally aired on NBC Friday night 8 p.m. on December 6, 1985. It was the 72nd episode to air, but the 74th to be produced. We did a video a while back on unproduced Knight Rider scripts, and Girls' Night Out we added into that bunch of unproduced scripts, even though technically it was heavily reworked into Night Behind Bars. But check out that video. There's a link up above in the corner of this video, and we kind of cover the synopsis and the story behind Girls' Night Out. But many of the plot elements are the same from this earlier third season script. For example, the warden, Christine Brooks, her last name is Briggs. She and Jason Nelson still use inmates to commit crimes. Matt Erickson, the architect who gets pickpocketed, is actually seriously injured in the original script. So the basic story stays the same. However, there's many other elements that are completely rewritten for this episode. So check out that video and you'll learn more about Girls' Night Out. The reception for Matt Erickson is held at this hotel, which we see Julie Rogers, rappelling down and getting in. This is in reality the Hyatt Regency in Long Beach. And if we look at it today, it looks pretty much identical. In fact, right where we're at here is almost exactly where they were filming, where they filmed this shot. So you can see it's pretty much exactly the same. All right, so let's talk for a minute about Julianne Mcnamara. She is one of the first guest stars in season 4 that was famous, for something else besides acting, right? Julianne is actually a very accomplished Olympic gymnast. The height of her career came at the 1984 Olympic Games in Los Angeles, so about a year and a half prior to this episode airing. She tied China for first place on the uneven bars. She won silver in some of her floor exercises and placed 4th all around. So as of the last Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2020, she's the only American to ever win gold in the uneven bars. So very accomplished gymnast here. But like I was saying, I think this is the first. I'd have to go back and think. But one of the first times we get someone from a profession outside of acting that comes in to Knight Rider to act. I'm thinking about... who do we have here coming up in Night Song? The new edition is coming up. In Redemption of a Champion, Don King and some other, heavyweight champions. So season 4, they really tried to bring in all these other people from outside of the acting world to be in the show. And I think Julianne is one of the first, if not the first. And we get this great shot of Patricia McPherson wearing what could possibly be the most 80s thing ever worn on Knight Rider. Look at that blouse. Look at the shoulder pads. I mean, that screams 80s right there. So I had to point it out. Okay, so far left we have Rosalind Ingledu, who played Samantha Lawton in this episode. We have seen her before in Knight Rider, way back in season 2 in A Good Night's Work. She played the young lady who was trying to buy a car from the used car salesman, and KITT was sabotaging it and made the radiator explode and the hubcap fall off. So she had a very minor role there, much bigger role here in this episode. So, maybe I don't think she was named in that other episode. Maybe this is the same character, right? She bought that car and then committed herself to a life of crime. I don't know. All right, so they realize that Matt's been pickpocketed. Michael calls KITT. KITT comes racing. Take a look in the background. We've got some Universal Studios trailers here. The Universal Studios, one of their box trucks, which this is probably the same one we saw when KITT was shut down and kidnapped in A Good Night's Work. They put him inside a box van. I think that's the same box van. And then, of course, you got the two crew trailers, aka Comtron trailers right there. And just another kudos moment for possibly the best roof slide in the show's history, right? Hasselhoff runs up to KITT, and this is Hasselhoff, not a stunt guy, runs up and just ever so gracefully jumps up, slides across the roof, and slides into KITT. It's really quite fascinating. In other episodes where he's done this, there's been a little apple box down here for him to step up on, but here I guess he didn't need it because there was a curb here, but awesome work, Hasselhoff. All right, so we get a better look in the background here as Michael and KITT are taking off, and I wanted to point out right here, we've got one of the KITT cars right here. So this is, I'm not sure which KITT car this is at this point. It was the hero car, but then they cut scenes and it's a little too far away to tell. But we've got another one right here parked off in the background. All right, so Michael and KITT pull up to Matt Erickson's office now, and Julie Rogers has stolen Matt's car and brought it here. A couple interesting things to note. So the license plate, 2BAK521. This is not the license plate that his car had in the scene outside the hotel when Julie stole the car. So if we go back and look at that scene and scroll in or zoom in, we see it's 2BLA672. And interestingly enough, that license plate, this first license plate, 2BLA672, that's the same license plate we're going to see in a couple episodes in Killer KITT. There's a scene where KITT's trying to murder Michael, and Michael hides behind a green Chevy, and the two guys from Marco Barrio come up and try and shoot him, and that green Chevy has that same license plate on it. In case you care. Of course you care. You wouldn't be here otherwise. And concerning the number of Knight Rider cars used in this episode, KITT cars, we have 8. So let's go over them right now. We've got the season 3 and 4 hero car, which you see here. We've got an appearance of the season 1 backup to the hero car right here. Now, a lot of you guys know that's the car. Season 1 was the backup to the hero car. Season 2, it was an insert car. Also, it was one of the 2 cars outfitted with high traction drop downs. By season 3, this car was rarely used. Just a few episodes here and there. And this is one of the rare appearances of one of the original 3 pilot cars way late in the 4th season, which is kind of cool. And this is, of course, one of the 2 cars that we own, the one that's currently in the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. We have a brief appearance of the right-hand blind drive car, which coincidentally is also one of the other 3 original pilot cars. So Night Behind Bars has the rare distinction of having 2 of the 3 original pilot cars in it, all the way in the 4th season, which is kind of cool. We've got the hardtop stunt car, the same one that we've had since, Whitebird in season 1. The general purpose T-top stunt car. The left-hand blind drive car. The season 4 insert car. And finally, the full-time super pursuit mode car. So there are your 8 KITT cars used in this episode. All right, so we see this jogger running past KITT. She's not in the frame yet, but in the background there's that Universal Studios box truck again, just the top end of it. All right, so Michael is at the warden's office, Christine Brooks' office, and this computer on her table, I believe, is the same computer that we see in the semi and in Devin's office, the Hewlett-Packard one that pretty sure they had a product placement deal for season 4 with HP. So here it is. It's probably the same one. If not, it's the same model sitting on her desk. And the return appearance of Dominic Brascia in Knight Rider. He plays the, quote, young man, no name, the attorney here who falls for the jogger love at first sight. He was previously in season 3 in Night of the Chameleon. So he's returned here, second and last appearance. And I should say that this whole scene right here is probably one of the cheesiest scenes in all of Knight Rider, right? You know, they always like to put in these short little time fillers, right, of these scenes that have nothing to do with the episode. And some of them are good, some of them are great, some of them are terrible. This is an absolutely terrible one. All right, so we're at the prison, at Gainsborough Prison. We have Julie practicing with where the laser beams will be whenever she does her big diamond caper. In the background, we see some of these boxes that say Versa Data Computer Company. Now, interestingly, that's the same font as the Comtron back in the pilot. But my brain is not functioning right now. We just saw these boxes in an episode not too long ago, and I talked about it in the commentary, and I can't remember for the life of me which one, but these boxes, these Versa Data Computer Company boxes, make a return here from an unknown earlier episode. All right, so we have the introduction of the Super Pursuit Mode car at night. It's the first time we see it at night. We'll only see it at night one other time in Deadly Nightshade near the end of the series, but I gotta say, the car looks pretty cool at night, doesn't it? With the underlights, the glowing red underlights, and then we've got these lights here. It actually looks pretty good at night. Probably looks better at night than it does during the day. And I skipped this one scene. This was the power plant entrance. If anyone is curious, wants to drive by, it's at 9546 San Fernando Road in Los Angeles. So have at it. All right, so we're at the Gainsborough prison entrance. This is the same prison that we saw way back in season 1 in No Big Thing when Devon was arrested. And interestingly enough, they'll actually reuse some of the footage of KITT crashing through the prison wall. They'll reuse it from No Big Thing in this episode here in a few minutes. All right, so Michael gets ejected out of KITT, lands on the top of the prison wall. Interestingly enough, this episode has 2 seat ejections in it, and it might be the most in an episode. I'm trying to think if there were any episodes that had more than 1, but this one has 2. Anyways, he jumps down from the wall from this great height, lands on his feet and barely buckles his knees, which is just a little, again, far-fetched. Yes, and here's the scene where KITT's crashing through the prison wall, reused from No Big Thing, but it happens to be the exact same filming location. And another blink and you'll miss it cameo, only from behind. This is Harold Hal Frizzle, one of the Knight Rider crew members who has made appearances in dozens of episodes throughout the series. Here he is in season 4 here. All right, so Julie is now back at the hotel and in the this diamond exchange, this diamond hall where she's going to steal a diamond. So in reality, this is on stage 1 at Universal, and this is a redress of that I call it the staircase set. We've talked about it in the past, but at the beginning of season 3, they built this set to be just kind of a catch-all set for whatever they needed. A lot of times it was used for the Foundation, or it was used as Boyd LaSalle's computer laboratory in Night in Disgrace. You see it in Fright Night. You'll see it in Night Flight to Freedom. I mean, it was in a bunch of different episodes. And in the background here, we see this device. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with what this device is, then do yourself a favor, and after this video is over, go onto YouTube and Google the most important device in the universe, and you'll learn all about that. All right, so then we have some stock footage of Michael, KITT, and Bonnie in Super Pursuit mode. KITT's coming down this road here and makes a hard turn left. This building right here is the same building that we saw in Custom KITT. This is where, when KITT was stolen by Buck and Nora Rayburn, they took him to this warehouse, and that's where they house all of their cars. So just a nice little piece of continuity there, I guess. And let's take a moment and appreciate how awesome Patricia McPherson was in this episode. Again, a rare episode where she gets to actually do something outside of the semi. And she's had a couple of those. I mean, she was just in Night Sting pretty heavily. Here she is again having a pretty bigger role. Hopefully that was on purpose, to get her out and really utilize her more. And this is one of the rare times that we see her in KITT out kind of on a mission. All right, so cool angle of KITT from the top down. This is that hardtop stunt car again, and you get a real good look. If these were T-tops, you'd be able to see through and see the actors in there. But clearly this is metal, so you can't see through it, and they have their fake T-top strips put on here. And note also how they have lap belts on, right? KITT, of course, was supposed to have passive laser restraint system, right? But in reality, all the cars had lap belts here just to keep the actors somewhat safe. All right, here's the ejection scene number 2 with Matt McComb, Hasselhoff's stunt double, doing that one. All right, so then we end the episode with them watching Julie's performance and giving her 10s. And if you notice, obviously RC's is his 10 is upside down, and then Michael fixes it. I'm 99% sure that this was a true mistake on Peter Perros's part. And then Hasselhoff fixes it, and Peter gives this look, but they stayed in character, and someone probably saw that and thought, oh, that's great, and that's something RC3 would definitely do. So, yeah, nice little mistake there that made it into the final cut. Okay, guys, that's it for Night Behind Bars. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something, something interesting. Next up is one of the worst episodes of Knight Rider, in my opinion. But once again, I vowed to cover them all, and cover them all I shall. Night Song is coming up next. A very budget-minded, not exciting episode. So, if I haven't sold you on watching that with me, well, you definitely should. Because I'm sure we'll find at least 1 or 2 nuggets. It might be the shortest episode commentary in history. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we find out. Who knows? All right. Thanks so much for watching. As always, appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.